Hello guys, how are you all doing? This is another day, another topic, another lesson by City League, and today we'll cover main purpose questions at exactly 5 a.m. That's crazy, right? Alright, so main purpose questions. In the last lesson, we covered main idea questions, right? And main idea questions are really similar to main purpose questions. We will learn about them, the approach, the things we need to know, and then we will do some practice, a few questions, and I will show you step-by-step approach to solve this question type. All right, main purpose. Now, we learned in the main idea question type that we needed to find the main idea of the text, right? What the text is talking about mainly, what the topic is, what the whole thing is about, right? But main purpose is quite different. Not much, but a little, all right? Main purpose questions ask you to find why is the text written, or why the author wrote it. What is the purpose? What purpose does the text serve? Right? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself when you read the question. The questions on this question type are really simple. There will be a text, scientific text, historical text, doesn't matter, and then it will ask you what is the main purpose of the text. It was the same thing for main idea questions. They were asking for the main idea. Now, difference between main idea and main purpose is that main idea asked what is the main thing, main topic. But again, main purpose is asking us why is it written? Why is it written? What is author trying to say? All right? This is the difference. This is the difference between main idea and main purpose. Most people think they are the same thing, but they're not. They have some huge differences when it comes to some questions, but their differences might be smaller in some questions, but usually there is quite a difference, all right? I think you get it. All right. Now, main purpose questions are really similar in approach to main idea questions. What I want you to do when you come across a main purpose question is that, first of all, I want you guys to read the text maximum of 2 times, just twice. If you don't understand it after reading twice, I don't think you will understand it after reading 3 times. All right, so just read it twice. And then, as similar to main idea questions, ask yourself, what is the reason this text is written, or what is the purpose of this text? What is the purpose of this text? And then, after asking yourself, just like we did in main idea questions, predict the answer. Predict the answer. Do not look at the answer choices, right? You must not look at the answer choices. They are like they're gonna make you, you know, believe that one answer is correct. So you should not look at them. Just predict the answer, think about it, ask yourself what is the main purpose of this text, how to find it, and so on, so on. And lastly, same thing as main idea questions because they are really similar in approach, is choose an answer that is similar to your prediction, right? That's the last thing you do. So these are the 4 steps in how to solve main purpose questions. This might be like really similar to main idea because approaches of these question types are really similar. I wanted to cover all these question types that are similar in one lesson, but I guess it would be kind of long and it might be confusing for you to understand them. So we are doing it one by one, but it doesn't matter, right? As long as you watch the videos, as long as you actively participate and watch lessons, you will get better. Now, main purpose, we learned about the difference, the approach, and let's take a look at how it looks like, what it is, and let's solve one question. Right, question number one. If you look here, we have the answer, we have the question. Which choice best states the main purpose of the text? We have a scientific or some kind of text. We have the answer choices. We should not be looking at them, all right? We should not be looking at them. We should be ignoring them. So let's read the text one by one, and I will try to, explain the sentences in simple words to you so that you can understand them. And then we will predict the answer, and then we will find the answer. So, first one. In many agricultural environments, the banks of streams are kept forested to protect water quality, but it's been unclear what effects those forests may have on stream biodiversity. All right, this is a scientific text from the first hand we can know it. So it's saying in many agricultural environments, in many agricultural places, the banks of streams are kept forested to protect water quality. Now, the banks of streams are kept forested on to protect water quality, but it's been unclear what effects these forests may have on stream biodiversity. Now, what I think in here is that the bank is, I think, some places, some kind of place of the streams. Stream is a river, something like the river. So that river is being forested, are kept forested to protect water quality. When I say forested, I think it is something like, going through forest or directing to forests. And it's unclear what effects these forests have on stream biodiversity. All right. To investigate the issue, biologists, all right, they are talking about some kind of banks of streams, and they're not sure what effects the forests have on those streams. That's, let's say this is an assumption, this is something they don't know. All right. To investigate the issue, biologist this person and colleagues studied in an Indonesian oil palm plantation, comparing the species regions of forested streams with that of non-forested streams. All right. So they had this unclear thought, they had this unclear assumption, they weren't sure, so they are trying to, study it, whether it's correct or not. This person and colleagues found that the species here we have richness was significantly higher in forested streams, a finding the researchers attribute to the role leaf litter plays in sheltering fish from predators and providing food resources. All right, so they were unclear, then they did a study, and now they uh, learned that forests are beneficial to these streams. All right. Now, when I ask myself why is this text written, what is the author trying to say? I think the author is trying to give us, tell us that tell us how much forests of benefit to streams. I think author is trying to stress the benefits of forests on streams. That's what I think. Now, I don't expect to have the same answer in one of the answer choices. I expect something similar. So let's read them and see what the answers are. In ACES, in answer ACE, it says it discusses research intended to settle a debate about how agricultural yields can be increased without negative effects on water quality. Now, the first part, when it says research intended to settle a debate, it is kind of correct. It can be correct, yeah. But the next part about how agricultural yields can be increased without negative effects on water quality. This is something that we didn't talk about. We were not talking or debating about how agricultural yields can be increased, right? So this is out. We are not talking about it, and it's not similar to my answer, right? So it is wrong. Answer B says it explains the differences between stream protection strategies used in oil palm plantations and stream protection strategies used in other kinds of agricultural environments. Now, this saying stream protection strategies in oil palm plantations is somewhere in here, oil palm plantation right here, but this is a detail and this is not the purpose why the text is written. When, the text is written to give some kind of main idea, to agree on something or to tell some kind of really important thing. And this is right now a detail, that's why it cannot be the answer. So A and B are out. As for C, it describes findings that challenge a previously held view about how fish that inhabit streams in agricultural environments attempt to avoid predators. Again, this is something We didn't talk about fish that inhabit streams in agricultural environments that attempt to avoid predators. Where did we talk about fish attempting to avoid predators? This is something not seen in the text. And C is also out. The last answer, it presents a study that addresses an unresolved question about the presence of forests along streams in agricultural environments. Now, this is not really similar to my answer, but this is, my answer and my prediction and this answer have kind of base, the same foundation. It's saying that the text is presenting a study about an unresolved question, and the question is about those forests being along streams and their effects and so on and so. Now, this is clearly the main idea, main purpose of the text, because we are talking about an unresolved question, which is given us as unclear right now, as the word unclear. Unclear means unresolved, right? And it's talking about main thing is in their main purpose or main thing in there, which are similar, are talking about presence of forests along streams. We're talking about streams and how they are forested, right? How they are kept forested. This is something that is there. All three answers before it were not there, where they were talking about some different things. So the only answer that makes sense is D. As you can see, in main purpose questions, we can usually and often clear out other answers without any hardship. So even if your prediction, just as I had, is not very similar to one of the answers, you can most of the time eliminate answers because they are not given or they are clearly wrong. This is not a really hard question type, so you don't need to worry about it. All right. So again, this is a main purpose question that is a typical of for Model 1. You might see this question on Model 1, maybe on Model 2, but most likely on Model 1 because it's kind of easier. And Model 2, that question might have some terms, some more scientific text, but there will not be a big difference, all right? Main purpose is main purpose, so they're not that hard, and it will stay the same. It will stay that way uh, all the way. All right. The next example. Again, which choice best states the main purpose of the text? All right, let's read it. Composer Florenka Price won first place for her score Symphony in E minor at the 1932 Wanamaker Foundation Awards. The piece was performed the following year by Chicago Symphony Orchestra, a significant recognition of its quality. So this guy or this person or this woman, yeah, this woman won award by performing her song, right? Or piece, whatever it is. And then that song or that piece of art or that thing, whatever this song, piece, was performed the next year by another group. Price, the person, the woman, continued to compose many musical pieces throughout her career, blending traditional black spirituals with classical European romantic musical traditions. So she continued to do some more and more pieces, and she blending is like mixed two different types of musical traditions. All right. In recent years, this woman's concerts, and symphonies have been performed and recorded by several major orchestras, further preserving her work for others to enjoy. All right. So it's talking about how women created these different pieces, these different things, and how they are also kept preserved because others are using them, others are imitating her, copying from her, and so on and so on. I would think that the main purpose of the text is that it's talking about it. It's the main purpose is to present the pieces of this woman and tell us how they are preserved, how they are even now performed by others. Right? I would think that's the main purpose. So let's go to the answers and see which one is right. Answer A says to provide examples of Price's importance as a composer. Now, how she important it is also again it is mentioned. Yeah, it is mentioned. Now, this is something that is not that similar to my answer. Again, it could be not similar, but if you think about it, we are actually giving examples, some pieces of her that imply how important she was, because we are given this blending traditional black spirituals with classical European romantic sayings right now here, right? And this is something that tells us how important she was. So I would think this could be the answer, right? That could be the answer. Even though it is not very similar to my answer, it could be the answer. That's what I think. Let's look at other answers. B. To argue that more major orchestras should perform Price's compositions. Now, there is no argument, there is no arguing, right? And it's not talking about how other orchestras also should perform this woman's compositions, this woman's pieces. It's not mentioned here. It's not the main purpose. It's not even mentioned. So B is out. To describe the musical styles that inspired many of Price's symphonies. Now we are not discussing what the inspirations of Price are, or what, or how she was inspired, or from what she was inspired, right? So it's clear that C is also out. D. To compare Price's scores with those of classical European composers. Nah, there is no comparison. There is no comparison about between Price and other composers. So the only answer that makes sense is A. We are given some really, really good pieces by this woman, right? So we could argue that this text, the purpose is to provide examples of the woman's importance as a composer, how important she was, what did she make, what were her pieces, and so on and so on and so on. All right. So this is a really good answer that is most likely the correct answer. So that answer is which we need to choose, the one we need to choose. All right. So this was the whole thing about main purpose questions. This question type appears a lot, and it appears alongside main and J questions. So what I want you to do right now is to go on to SAT League website and go on to SAT League website, satleague.com. All right. Sign in and go on to practice specific questions. Practice specific questions. And in there, go on to reading section. You will see main purpose questions right here. This is a medium level. But for now, we have only medium level for main purpose questions. We will add easy and hard level too. What I want you to do is to start testing. There are 15 questions. You can put 35 minutes if you want. You can put custom time, let's say 100 minutes, or you could put no time limit. I want you to put no time limit and start the test. And start solving the questions here. All right? Let's say we have finished. After finishing, you have to go back to each mistake you had and analyze those questions. After analyzing, what you can do, which is very important, is to go to explanations and find that same thing, main purpose, medium here. Go to analyze and go on to full screen, and right here you have all the questions, all 15 of them. You can press this explanation here to get the explanation. Compare your analysis, your explanations, why each answer is correct, why it's not, with the answers, with the real explanations we have here. These are the real explanations, these are the real explanations of these questions and answers. Compare them, learn from them, solve them, and you will get better. And if you still make mistakes, if you still struggle with this question type, then that means this question type is your weakness. If that's your weakness, you have to practice with it more. Go on to other, we will add more main purpose questions. Go on to other main purpose question type questions, tests, and solve from them. From easy ones, from hard ones. Analyze them one by one and try to do them all. This will make make you improve. You will see progress in your studies, in this question type especially. All right, guys, this was the whole thing. Thank you for and thank you for fully watching the lesson. I hope it was useful. See you next time for another question, another day, another topic.